Hi everybody, it's Colin here. I am with the man, the myth, the legend, John Lenhart. I'm going to let him explain a little bit about himself and how we met. I am sure people that have spoken to me over the last kind of 9 months have heard the name. This is now the face. John, on you go, mate. You do what you've got to do.
I'm John Lenhart. I'm a chemical engineer and a chemist by degree, but about 25 years ago, I started working on a model for the mind and the brain. And as I created that model or discovered it really, what happened was it became a trade secret and I wasn't allowed to share it for about 20 years. And it's only in the last couple of years that I've actually been able to share it. And what we're doing is we're just helping people really be more themselves. Everybody does everything through a thought process. So if you understand how the mind and brain works, you can literally explain anything. So that's kind of, it's kind of overwhelming, but that's kind of what I do in a nutshell.
No, I love that. Now, can you explain, please? Because no one believes that I get asked a question from you. And it was a very, very simple question that I believe I had answered my own way. But when you asked a different part of that question and I answered it, and then we kind of went forward there. Can you explain that process, please?
Yeah, so what happened was I wanted to write a book about mental health because everything in the world comes down to what humans do, their behavior, and everything comes back to mental health. And so what I wanted to do is I had this plan. I was going to come on LinkedIn, 600 million of the best people in the world, and I was going to introduce this book. I had it all lined out, 52 weeks, and I was going to introduce it. And it was kind of a game within a game within a game. I was going to write this book about mental health. I knew where it was going to end. It was all going to end about leadership and parenting and how that really is the effect of the world. And that's where all the mental health issues are coming from. And I was going to step it through and do that. So what I also wanted to do was while I was on this journey, I wanted to demonstrate on LinkedIn how the people of LinkedIn are causing the mental health issues. And I wanted to show how LinkedIn itself would bury its head and not be even interested in helping mental health. So I come on in May, I start interacting with people, and my favorite question asked, because mental health begins with definitions. My favorite question to ask is, what's your definition of leadership? Because everybody on LinkedIn wants to talk about leadership. And I have for the last 20 years asked people their definition for leadership, and it's hilarious to watch 95% of people not even answer it. They want you to pay them to help with leadership. They can't even define it. And they're using the word leadership. So what happened was I started doing that. I come on LinkedIn, and sure enough, May, June, even a little bit into July, every single person I asked would not answer that question what the definition of leadership is. And I'm like, I think I might go an entire year without one person answering this question. And so then this guy posts about leadership and parenting. And I'm like, this guy's got my last post. Like he's got, here it is, 10 months from now, this is where it's all ending. I'm going to ask this guy's definition of leadership. He's not going to answer either. So I asked him his definition of leadership, and he answers. And I was in shock. And I tell this guy, do you realize you are the first person on LinkedIn that's answered this question? And this guy wouldn't believe me, thought I was blowing smoke at him, and said, you're ridiculous. There's no way I'm the first person. And that was you, Colin.
Hello. Yeah, I know. And I still remember the question being asked. And I remember you've mentioned, thankfully, very graciously, you've mentioned me a couple of times in the chapters that you've written in your book, which again, I'm very, very grateful for, like you wouldn't believe, because I'm one out of 7.7 billion that you can have written about. And it's true. And you've put me in your book. And from someone that's had 25 years of this, working with the mind, brain, and flow test. We'll talk about that in a minute. About these things, and you've put me in, I think it's about 3 chapters, and I'm like, wow, all from answering one question where it's only polite to answer, and And I think that what I found with LinkedIn was it was it's very impersonal for a start, but people forget what manners are. They forget.
Yeah, they're I call it 160. They're kind of in an animal thought process, a habitual thought process. 94% people of people are just floating. So what happens is when someone says something, they just respond back. They really are not thinking. That's kind of my point, is you're using the word leadership. What do you mean by it? You have to change the gears in your brain physiologically to be focused and answer that question. And 94% of people are unable to do it. And I know it seems mind-blowing, but what was funny about it was I kept showing it to you. I kept asking people questions and linking you on it to go, Colin, look, like, you don't believe me, look. These people won't answer this question. And then Stefan and Dom were two of your contacts, and they both answered the question.
Yeah.
So last summer, there were like 3 people on all of LinkedIn that would answer my question, believe it or not.
And just we'll go on to Dom and Stefan just for a second, because as much as we all have our own lives, our own styles, but we all seem to be living our lives at the moment, and this is where it becomes so I can't even put a word to it. It's our passion. So our passion's all to help people, all 4 of us, but it's on a different path. So this always kind of comes down to our uniqueness, this is where everything comes from now, because you speak about uniqueness all the time, and this you actually created. I knew what uniqueness was. I could have given a possible definition from it, maybe not dictionary, but I could have given a definition for uniqueness. Now, uniqueness, I believe now isn't a type of definition until you start to live it. Then you define it. Do you understand what I mean? It's like you've got to live the habits. Could you explain a bit more about that, please?
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I wrote about you is because I called you a truth savant. And so one of the things that I figured out about the people that were answering the question is they feel the truth. They can tell you this is true and I'm going to fight for it because I believe in it, and this isn't true and it's making me really upset. And when I ask you to explain it consciously, you can't do it. You know, Stefan couldn't do it, Don couldn't do it, you couldn't do it, but you all felt the truth. And so what happens is when you look at your brain, 10% of your brain is conscious. That's the logical part. That's the part that LinkedIn celebrates. 90% of your brain, where all your energy, all your joy, and all your sexual attraction is what we're celebrating, and LinkedIn isn't. So that's okay that all the people on LinkedIn don't want to, they don't want to celebrate their energy, their joy, and their sexual attraction. That's okay with me. Okay, we'll just keep doing that. But the thing is that these people are in touch with that 90. They can't explain it through that 10. So they're a truth savant. They do it, they can't explain it. And that's really what I do. When I consult, when I executive coach, when I interact with somebody, nobody needs an executive coach to tell them how to write emails, how to schedule their day, how to make phone calls. They need it to figure out what their uniqueness is so more of it can come out. They need to understand how they think so more of that comes out. So all I was doing with you was I was helping you understand who you really are, what your first cause is in a sense, and then helping you let that out. And then when you let that out, that's when you have energy. And so that's what was happening with you and some other people, is all I was doing was trying to help you be you, not you be me or you be anybody else. How can I help you be you, Colin?
Yep. And for this, I cannot explain to anyone that watches this, whether it's one person or 1 million, and to yourself, I can't explain how grateful I'll always be for that. Because yes, I did the work, but I wasn't able to do the work until I was shown. For the way that I was living, I had to be shown or asked, or the information to be coaxed before I understood it, if that makes sense. So for that, yes, you literally, by asking me that one question, changed my whole entire life. And there was a part in the book, and this is what really interests me the most, because he said, I didn't agree with his opinion, but he gave me his answer. Now, while we're on this subject, there's so many people that now just make statements and give opinions without any backup or without trying to understand themselves. Now, when a statement or an opinion is given back, they feel offended because this is the reaction. So they've created it, but then they don't realize that it was there. So what I would like to ask you is, how can people have a better relationship with themselves and other people in terms of opinions and statements?
So a lot of that, you actually did the post on the samurai. And so I look at that as one of the things when I came on LinkedIn, as I said, I'm going to be a samurai. And you had this post where from the Seven Samurai, yeah, where this samurai is fighting a townsperson, and the townsperson's the bully. And the samurai in the clip never takes a forward step.
Yep.
It's really important. You could watch that clip and it'll your unconscious knows it, but you consciously don't see it. And then it has to be pointed out. That samurai never takes a forward step. When he strikes the blow, he does it with a backward step, which means if you don't attack a samurai, you can't get killed.
Yeah.
How are you going to get killed by a guy who never takes a forward step? You have to rush at him. And in the clip, what makes the bully rush at him is a backward step. He's standing there with the sword forward, and he takes a step back and puts the sword back, and that causes the bully to scream and run at him. And it's really, I take this into classrooms and help these kids understand this. I go, does bullying work? And they go, no. I go, it does. The whole town's afraid of the bully. In the clip, the whole town's afraid of the bully. It's just a samurai came to town, and the worst person for a bully to fight is a samurai. So everything I do on LinkedIn is I never take a forward step. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to understand someone else. And all I'm trying to do is when I ask a question is not a forward step. I'm giving up control. What do you think about this? What is your definition? I'm not exerting any control. But if you're low or no self-esteem, you'll get shook by it, and then you'll lash out. And all you're doing is proving you're a bully. So the first thing I'd say to people is recognize when you freak out at a question of me trying to understand you, you are proving to the entire world that you have low or no self-esteem. Second of all, is what I would say is this, is that all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to understand you so that I can explain to you what you said to your satisfaction. That's all I'm trying to do. And what should happen is you should feel heard, understood, respected. I actually got on a post a couple of weeks ago with a guy who wants to tell these boys how to be men, and another guy came on and started attacking me. And all I did was ask him a couple questions, trying to understand him, and he's attacking me, and I just explained to him, and then I say, so is this what you're saying? And when it's done, he goes, I feel understood. And he goes, I'm sorry for my spikiness. And that is the way to dissolve racism and sexism.
Yes.
Is the way the brain works is if you get to know somebody of some group that you are against, your brain will form a good emotion, and then your unconscious will stop you from attacking somebody of that group because of this good emotion. The problem is we are so bad at interacting, we can't form those good connections. So the problem of racism is being perpetuated by people who go, stop being racist and shut up. So yeah, that's the thing I learned from LinkedIn. So now my last post has been up over a week. The name of the post is, does LinkedIn really want to improve mental health? LinkedIn now, it's 8 days, hasn't responded at all. The world's getting worse with racism and sexism, and LinkedIn is showing how they feel about all this. And the day that they finally reached out, my first question is going to be, what took you so long? What were you working on other than helping mental health and racism and sexism that you think that's more important than this right now? So that's what all I did is if you can take backward steps, and I have a post about measuring healthy interactions. If you ask questions, they're open-ended, and if you basically use these communication guidelines, you cannot take a step forward. So all my goal is don't take a step forward and help that person feel safe. Then when they feel heard, understood, and respected, then you can connect with them. Then you can form a relationship where you have a positive emotion, and then you have what we have. I mean, this all started, but the problem is it's tense. So Dom, Stefan, you, there's, all these other people I've connected with, the first interaction is tense. I'm saying to you, I don't necessarily agree with your definition, but I respect you doing that. And that point all comes from this. All of these superhero movies, their solution is let's kill all the evil people.
Yeah.
And my favorite book, my favorite novel, my favorite movie all have a character that says, let's take the good people and make them great. So my measure was always, what's your definition for a word you use? If you answer it, you're good. And I want to help you become great. That's how you fix the world. Let's help the good people become great. The problem is there was only like less than 10 people in an entire year that ever answered that question on LinkedIn. So 10 out of 600 million good people on LinkedIn.
It's insane. And when you talk about 10 out of 600 million, that's not a large ratio. And we can talk about LinkedIn, but we can also look at other platforms. Okay, so we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got all these different ones now. I was going to do a post earlier on, which I'll probably do it later, about how people parade themselves, okay? How people parade, and I'm using the word parade, and I will give a definition to anyone that wishes, they're putting themselves out there to gain attention from people they don't know to fulfill themselves. Now, when it comes to self-fulfillment, okay, it comes from the self, and it becomes from understanding the self and being the self and living the life of the self. So this has changed my life again, because I was a little bit more, I wasn't bad. I'd done a lot of work, and I had lost a lot of the ego and stuff before I'd met yourself, that you knew, obviously, and this is where, so I had lost it, or lost some of it where I wasn't using it. I hadn't lost it where it was gone. It's not disappeared. It's always there. Yeah. But I had got to this stage where I didn't have to use the ego because I was living in this truth, which again was through the methods that you'd shown me. Now, when I started living that, I didn't feel that I had to parade. I didn't have to, and the attention became less, but the connections became more. And I was like, wow, this is mega. So when I had this sense of the connections were deeper. I mean, I don't think you and I have ever had a normal conversation about, hi, how's the weather? Did you see that television program last night? Now, genuinely, that is what goes on. Hey, how are you? I'm fine, thanks. You? Yeah, good. You? Yeah, good. This is it. And this is what life's kind of going on. You and I never had that once. And this is what I appreciate so much about our relationship. I think it's great. And I genuinely, I connect deeper with you than I do with kind of lots of my family. Like, my blood relatives, because it's a healthy communication.
Right. So Twitter is what I call 320, or psychologists call dysregulation. Twitter is triggering. When I look at Twitter, people are just getting on there to trigger. Okay. Facebook is what I call 160, or people would call regulation, or an animal thought process, or habituation, or addiction, is people go on Facebook to not think. And so I thought LinkedIn was what I would call 80, or self-regulation, or focused, or logical. That's what I was like, this is great. I'm going to put my book on LinkedIn, where all these giants of healthy conversations and intellectual conversations and logical conversations are going to happen. And this is going to be amazing, because it's not Facebook at all. And you look at the post, and people are trying to teach you, and people are trying to be logical, and it seems that way. And then you ask one question, and it turns into Facebook. And that was what just threw me. So the thing is what you realize, and I call it dissolve. You don't solve a problem, you dissolve it. If you solve it, you come up with all these steps that wear you out. But it's like, you know what? Rather than you trying to get affirmation and make people like you and make people give you attention, why don't you be you And then when you're you, you're going to naturally want to love and give to other people. And then as you love and give to other people, because that's really what you're trying to do, all of a sudden the affirmation comes, and it comes in something you care about.
Yeah.
Not versus how I look or how, you know what I mean? You're getting affirmation into who you are, and you're like, oh, this is, you know, people start twitching, you know, they start having so much energy. So that's what it was that's all I'm trying to do is you figure out you, then focus on you being you, and you'll get the affirmation in line with who you are versus all these people parading. What do you learn about a person at a parade? Just how they look. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. And they can change that. They can wear masks on parades. They can wear different clothes that they would not normally wear, you know? And this is why today I've come on. I didn't try and come on. I don't want to be. Do you know, I was on LinkedIn and I had my shirt on and I was trying to cover my tattoos, you know, because you try and put this. And then once after I met you, it became this, do you know what? I've got tattoos. I've lived my life. I've got past. And I accept it, and I love it, and it's brought me to where I am just now. And it doesn't matter, there was no right or wrong decisions that I made in the past, because it's brought me to here. And just to touch on slightly, because there'll be a lot of people listening, and I'll put a figure on maybe about 97% of people, okay, maybe more, that are still stuck in the past in terms of the way they live. Okay. Now, when I speak to them, I always explain that they create a new habit, they create a new thought process, and this allows them to go away from where they believe they are, where they're stuck with, you know. Now, is there a message that you can give them from, obviously, your experience that would give people the quickest solution?
The quickest solution to what specifically?
To move forward and leave the past behind them. So take forward the experience and not the emotion that's attached.
So the quickest way to do that is to get out the emotion. So what happens is in your brain, every memory you have is a fact and an emotion is attached to it. I like to say your conscious brain is half fact and half emotion. So if I say vanilla ice cream and I say dog crap, hopefully you have two different emotions, okay? Because there's two different emotions attached to it. So what happens is you search your brain factually, you know, what are the, 10 best, restaurants in this town, and you search it emotionally. What are my 10 favorite? So that's to really understand your brain. The issue with the brain is that you cannot get forward until the emotion is processed. Everybody thinks they can think without processing the emotion. So the definition of an emotional decision is when you don't get the emotion out. So if you see it like in poker, the guys they'll have a hand that's a winner, and they'll get, it's called a bad beat. They'll get beat by that one card, and they'll have the emotion, but they hold it in. They don't process it, they hold it. And now they're going, I'm making a logical decision. See, there's no emotion. And what's happening is they always lose the next hand. So what I teach, like I help football coaches and basketball coaches and athletic coaches and managers and executives, is I'll tell the coach, like in football, in American football, you have 25 seconds to call a play. You call a play, they goof it up. You're mad. If you hold it in and call another play, it's going to be bad. I teach the coaches to turn right away and let it out. That was terrible. Not at anybody, but let the emotion out. When the emotion's out, then you don't make an emotional decision. So everybody has that backwards about the brain, is that if you don't let the emotion out, every decision is emotional. So the quickest way to do it is let the emotion out, not at anybody, and then you can process and go forward. So if I'm upset at you, Colin, and I wait 2 weeks to process the emotion and 5 minutes to get through the fact, it took me 2 weeks and 5 minutes. It took me 5 minutes. It's my fault for waiting 2 weeks to let the emotion out. And so a lot of what you do is you create a safe space for people to get out their emotions. Everybody thinks they got to think and be more of a robot. And if you can get the emotion out, if I can help you get the emotion out, I'll bear that pain. All of a sudden they're able to think. And then they don't understand, how come when I'm around you, Colin, I'm suddenly able to think? Because you're taking the emotion away.
Yep. And thank you. And it's nice because people don't understand it, and I didn't understand it before I met you. I didn't understand.
You were doing it.
What?
You did it without me telling you. You did it for all your life, but that's all I do. I don't tell anybody what to do. I tell everybody why their brain works, and then they always look at me and go, you said this so many times. John, I already do that. I know, Colin. Now you know why. Now you can do it on purpose. And that's what it really is the highest thought process is flow. And we help people intentionally flow. They are able to flow. You guys can flow without me, but I can help you intentionally flow. But it first depends on you learning how you specifically think. So if I wrote a book on how to flow, it's not going to help anybody. Yeah. Because everybody has a unique process for flow. Hence the name of our company is Flowcess. Your unique process for flow.
Can you tell people about Flowcess, please? Because obviously after you and I had the conversation, I actually went on and actually completed your course with you, and you passed me on information. And it was not only the meeting of you was the initiation of the course, which changed my life. Right?
Right. Right. Now, so what it is basically we help people get out of a hole. We help people, get, there's 3 parts of your brain that you're going to have an issue in: your conscious, unconscious, or amygdala, and there's a different way to fix each one. The thing with most counselors or therapists is they're really good at fixing one of the 3, and that's why they're kind of 40% effective. PTSD is a problem in all 3, and if you don't fix all 3, it's like you did nothing. We go into the schools. One of the areas we work is helping these teachers. These teachers are burnt out after 9 months, and they're doing their dream job. But it's because they're sinking into these kids who don't have a good thought process. So we take care of the teachers. The teachers can take care of the kids. We take care of the teachers, and we help teachers have more energy at the end of the school year. We really help these teachers with these special ed kids, because all of these special ed kids they all have PTSD. That's literally what's going on. They have a bad environment. They have PTSD. We help the teachers remove that PTSD, and kids graduate out of these special ed courses back into regular ed. So that's what we do. So the first half of our course is really helping you have resiliency to be able to hold your thought process when everybody else is acting crazy. How can I hold it? And then the second half of the course is flow. Now, how can I get my thought process to be in a way that I end up with more energy? It's not about these teachers not losing energy or these executives not losing energy. We are talking about people gaining energy, having more energy through the school year and through their life. So that's what generativity is not sustainability. I'm not losing energy, it's generativity. How do I end up with more energy over time?
Sustaining is living day to day. That's what sustainability will be, would it not? If it's living from day to day, so waking up with your problems or with it, and I can't wait to go to bed and it's over. That type of thing, where when you gain that energy, you can't wait to wake up the next day. You can't wait for this. Oh, I don't want this day to end because I can teach people, I can give people my real self. And it's living that actual, I do a lot more work than what I really should in terms of time for myself, just like you do. I mean, it's family, friends, and all the rest of it. We need to make time for them. But when you're called to do a job, or you're called to have your life to help others, help themselves, it's very, very difficult. And it's very, very difficult, but it's so fulfilling in a way because we're fulfilled. We did that work. We did that. So it's like we're only giving what we naturally have.
Perfect. There's your poetic ending right there. That was perfect, Colin. Thank you.
No, thank you. And and this is where I want to explain to everybody that I want this to us, you and I, to come on and create some content free for them for living everyday lives. Hopefully they've enjoyed this and they want to come back, because we all deserve happiness, okay? And to finish this kind of conversation off, because I understand that you're a busy man, I just want to talk about love. Now, you taught me the definition of love. I knew what love was because I felt it, like the truth. I felt it, and I could express it, and I could show it physically, okay? But I wasn't able to give the definition. And the definition was?
Giving without expecting anything in return.
Exactly. Now, when people do things in life, and I say people, that's probably a lot of people say a lot of things and do a lot of things in life so that they get somewhere. and they can be something and they can have something and gain something. Now, this is the same in business. This is the same in life, relationships, parenting. With kids, you know, they'll give their kids a toy so the kid gives them that love that they don't have. I mean, it goes through all of life. All of life. I spoil my child will love me unconditionally because I don't particularly like myself, you know, and it's a it's a very touchy subject for most, but it is also something that really needs addressed. So, I mean, we can do these things and we can talk about love, because love for me is what we were born to do. It was the only thing apart from eating and going to the toilet we didn't have to learn.
We could do a whole show on love. Let's make sure we do one, okay?
Please do, and I'm looking forward to it. And again, I can't thank you enough for coming on today. It's been absolutely great, and thank you. And I'm sure this is going to be awesome, kind of moving forward. And we can talk about your book, which is going to be really important to a lot of people as well. But also we can talk about how people can benefit themselves in their daily lives, and for free as well, because it's just them.
Awesome. Thank you, Colin. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much.